John Sands is a poet I read with a couple years ago, or heard read first at Sarah Lawrence College, and he knocked me out. And then I read with him last year in New York, and he did it again. There's just a kind of a force to his poems, and I'm going to let them speak for themselves.
All right. What's up, everybody? How are you? Good. Thank you to Tom. Thank you to Travis. Thank you to Vivek and Jeff. I'm going to get into it. Moons over my hammy is a sandwich that I know dick about. Now, I am not above Denny's 3 a.m. breakfast. I'm just from Cincinnati, which means if you are classically inebriated with the moon out, that is some shit you do at Waffle House. Where the hash brown options describe my 16-year-old brain cells tonight at Mark Baker's dad's townhouse, who is gone on business, and we play kings until 7 people have chugged the equivalent of 4 natural lights, each from a flower vase. And my parents told me, just no alcohol, and that is final. Which is high school speak for cover your tracks, which is impossible for a 16-year-old. I wear American Eagle everything because it is an affordable Abercrombie in order to look like someone who has made out with more than 3 girls, 2 of which while I was on vacation. And tonight, Alicia Weston spends an hour over my lap at Mark's dad's, vomiting into a plastic garbage bag that I am holding. And each time she passes echoey loud gas, which will define her more in our minds than that her father will die unexpectedly from a heart attack in 17 months. Tonight, Carrie Ballard laughs the loudest, even though in 2 years she will fellate 3 sophomores in one night, and we will write it into the senior skit for our graduating class of 630. And Coach Amberry will find me the morning of the assembly and say, man to man, to follow through with a skit like that is the kind of thing that damages someone for life. So I smile while backing away and say it is out of my control. Tonight, Ox and I throw 2 punches that both miss, then lock ourselves in Mark's dad's bedroom to cry and say we love each other while Mark screams and pounds the door. And people will tell that story 11 years from now. Tonight, Jay Oliver is a 16-year-old on mushrooms who doesn't need to deal drugs, wearing Ox's XXL highlighter orange jumpsuit, being chased through Tanninger Woods by a suburban traffic cop who shatters his femur on an oak tree, and we definitely meet at Waffle House at 3 in the morning, where we know Joanne the waitress by name, and pool our quarters to play Meatloaf's I Would Do Anything for Love 36 times, back to back on the jukebox, and I fall out of my chair on purpose to laugh on the ground. I have not lost my virginity, my grandparents, or spoken a word aloud about my father falling in love with another woman, and Mark Baker uses the word gay 17 times, refusing to apologize, and it is 4 a.m. in 1999 at Waffle House, and I am drunk enough to loudly call him a racist. I throw up in the bathroom before taking my scattered, smothered, covered hash browns to go, stumble the full 5 miles of moonlight back to my own bedroom, weeping the entire way. Thank you. So that's where I'm from. Good to meet you. You can tell me your stories after the reading. I've been writing a lot about high school lately, and I think I'll read one other piece. And it's interesting to find out how quickly the person I was in high school becomes the person I am now, and how the smallest trigger has the potential to turn the person, like the grown 30-year-old man I am now, into the same 14-year-old at Waffle House. This is not about that, but I thought you would want to know that. Okay. I just know that when I came to, I belonged here. I would go to the supermarket where dusty aisles were filled with the correct amount of food. I remember a dead man outside, how the crows picked at his leftover parts, taking what they needed, then flying away. No one thought to stop, to tell the story of the morning he drove them to the airport, even though it was 6 a.m., and what that meant. Have you ever seen ants walk over each other's bodies? They escort food to a more centralized location, then they fall into a toilet or under a sandal. And ants don't burn candles or negotiate with pheromones. They just walk away. And that is who we were. I would see Lorraine at the tire shop, nod, and then we would drive to our own homes, which we shared as a means of reproduction. We didn't have a reason to be here. We were here. Who needed convincing? What was there to fear? Death? What was the difference? And then, one morning, before sunrise, it showed up in the middle of town, black, with 90 or so polished black and white parts, smoother than anything we had ever required. It looked like it would make an uncomfortable couch. And beside it was a man who smiled in a white tuxedo with black trimming and shiny black loafers. I said, "What is that?" He said, "It's curiosity. It means that you want to know something that you don't know already." I said, "Well, what is that?" He said, "A piano." I said, "Why is it here?" He said, "Touch it." And I can't explain what happened next. I fell onto the sidewalk where we don't sit. I cried thick, salty bulbs. I rolled along the concrete into the grass and felt it touch my face like it was a baby's fingers, and I never thought to compare those two things before. I said, "What is this?" He said, "It's sorrow. It's what happens when you know what's possible." He looked down and had brown hair parted on the side, but slicked back diagonally, and I could make out my own reflection in his shoes. I looked so small there. I saw a bird fly across a cloud and thought how we must be made of the same thing. He smiled again, then put all of his fingers on the tiny parts of the piano like it was me. And this time, I didn't even have to ask. It was love. Something I needed so badly that I could die. Thank you. Okay. I have a question. Can you make some noise if you were born in the 1980s? It's okay, just like it's a survey question. You don't need to like rep the 80s. Anybody? Yeah. Okay, I mean, okay, we have a few shows of hands. This is not an effective survey. How about if you know, if I said the name Andre 3000? Woo! Would people, yeah, man.
Not born in the 80s.
I know that Andre wasn't born in the 80s.
No, me neither.
Oh, okay. You're saying you weren't born in the 80s. She was like, woo! In the second row. Okay, so if I said Outcast, because I'm in Atlanta right now. I mean, this is like a very important time in my life right now. I know this is just like Thursday for y'all. But it's like, you can't picture 14-year-old me thinking that I am the coolest person in all of the suburbs of Cincinnati playing like Southern playalistic Cadillac music in my car. You and I are really hitting it off right now. Okay, I can't pass up reading this poem in Atlanta. And it's called, When I See Andre 3000 Buying Bananas at Trader Joe's, I say everything you have ever done has meant so much to me. He says, I've done PCP. I say, that meant so much to me. He says, I've lost my keys and took it out on a waitress. I forgot to brush my teeth last Tuesday, and I do commercials for Gillette razors now. I say, I saw that commercial. So much to me. He is enjoying himself. How about you, Tex? He says, and I cannot believe that no one has ever called me Tex before. I say, okay. I have been wearing the same undershirt for a week and a half. I pose for every photograph. I masturbated this morning picturing a woman I made out with 2 years ago. I am preachy and self-important when I talk about race with my family. Sometimes when I'm not listening, I make my face look like it is super listening. And I might be incapable of romantic love. He says, did you hear my song about being incapable of romantic love? I say, dog, it meant everything to me. He says, this is not working. I say, wait, I'm a poet. Does that help? He says, I'm scared if you read me one, it might suck, and I'm not ready to risk having to say something. I say, what if I just stare at you? We are walking now. I say something that only Andre 3000 would say. He says, I'm lonely. I say, oh my God. That was so brave. Oh, thank you. So I'm going to read one more poem and then sit down and marvel at Jeffrey McDaniel. And I'd like to close out by reading a poem for my brother that I wrote in the year 2011. And I've said this before. I think that being a poet oftentimes around weddings is similar to being like the dude with the pickup truck on moving day. It's like the time when all like what you have is the most convenient to everyone who loves you. And so I've written 4 wedding poems, which is a lot if you are, 30 with a history of commitment issues. That is working itself out. And so this was emotionally significant, of course, because 2 people were joining their lives together. But it was politically significant because my brother Ben married another man in the state of New York, which, if you have been keeping score, has been illegal for ever. And they passed that law, and it was very, regardless of where you stand, it was a very important day for our family to be able to see my brother grow up at the same high school that I'm talking about in that Moons Over Miami poem, to marrying the love of his life. And so they asked me to write this poem. I was terrified, I was honored, and this is what I did. So this is for my brother Ben and my new brother Wendell on their wedding day. This man you've only met tonight, who is wearing fake glasses and a black tank top in a dive bar in Manhattan, has made you laugh 11 times already. He is teaching you how to download apps on your new iPhone. He is opening one and scribbling his name across the screen so you will remember it. And you are allowing your body to become a song that says, "Move closer." And when it first appears, you don't know how to name love. So it is dialing you today, even though I called yesterday. It is losing the other numbers in your phone until 5 months pass, and it is just you and this man laying in your bed on 25th Street, your hand slung across his chest, nearly asleep. And there is a James Bond movie finishing on the TV. And just before your eyes are meant to close, his body is an electric current in tight underwear, out of bed and dancing, pirouetting nearly into the television, an interpretive spy dance that is not stopping but blossoming to the music of the credits. And your body is now in tears from a profound laughter. It is no longer just a joke, no longer just a beautiful dance. It is the truth from a body that can only occur in a bedroom between lovers that says, when you are happy, I am alive. Without you, I am not me. And it does not matter that it will take weeks to name the love that sits inside you, stable as a new house. You are traveling into your past, where he is not. But now you see him everywhere. In the moving van at 9 years old, at 13 in the mirror and the bottle of pills, he was there in the arms of the first man to hold you and assure you were beautiful. He is not just dancing perfectly around your dresser and curtains in his underwear. He is doing it for you. And you do not need to know that love is a word which will travel free between you like a flock of sparrows, that you will deliver yourself to it, across an uptown C train, a fire pit in Boston, the wedding aisle in a library on the west side of Manhattan, that there are years between this day and the day you say that no other word could communicate what we both know. When you say husband, because my life is my own and I wish to give it to you, because I wish to apologize and to forgive and to come home to you each night. Husband, because it was true in a dive bar and in a bedroom that we shared on a street where I walk around the block because we have just had a fight and I am coming home to you calm. I name you my husband to receive you. True today, tomorrow, my husband, because I have spent my entire life climbing toward your name. Thank you very much for having me.